assistant professor and facilitator to students at undergraduate level since 2000. Today, through this slideshow, I would like to introduce you about phonetics. Phonetics is a common interest and what are the language levels and basic language skills that are needed to be paid attention. So let's begin our journey to phonetics. Language skills. There are 4 basic language skills. When a person gets command over a language, it indicates that this person must be acquainted with 4 basic language skills. That is LSRW. Let's begin. What do you mean by language skills? One by one. Listening. This is the first and the most important language skill. In order to acquire any language, one has to pay attention towards listening skill. Listening is the prime requirement of getting familiar with any kind of a language. Just take an example of your mother tongue. You learn your mother tongue. No, you acquired your mother tongue only through listening. Language learning and language listening and language acquiring, these are the 2 different things. There is a lot of difference between language learning and language acquisition. Language acquisition is a natural process which can be inculcated by the human beings only through listening. Just take an example of your mother tongue. No one joins the formal education to acquire your mother tongue. The second language skill is no other than speaking. Speaking is an output of the previous listening input. The more you listen to a language, the more you are exposed to a language listening, then obviously it will be beneficial to enhance your speaking skill. Most of the Indian speakers always desire to be a fluent speaker in English language, but they ignore the first requirement of listening. Speaking skill can be mastered only through hard work and frequent exposures. The third is language skill is no other than reading. Reading is generally considered as a very passive skill, but reading plays a very vital role in order to enhance your language skill. And the last, but not the least, that is writing skill. Writing is an output of your reading skill. It is correlated with reading, just like speaking is correlated with listening. So these are the 4 basic skills. In order to get a command over in language, you have to acquire all these 4 basic skills, that is LSRW. Now we will see the different levels of language. There are 3 different levels of language. Language is actually a way of communication. It is a mean of communication that one requires to express his ideas, feelings, thoughts, and it is the divine gift bestowed to the human beings only. Animals also communicate, but their communication cannot be certified as a language because animals communicate through a particular set of sounds. But language is an unended entity. Look at the levels of language. Now we will see one by one. The first, it is structural or grammatical. A person learns alphabets, words, then clauses, phrases or sentences and the different grammatical units in order to get a command over a target language. So this is known as the structural or grammatical level. The second level is phonetical or oral expression. Most of the time, Indian speakers are at ease in case of structural or grammatical units, but they fail to express their language expression on this particular level, that is known as a phonetical or oral level. Our today's slideshow is intended to make you acquainted with this second level of phonetics. The third level of language always deals with semantics, or what you call the meanings or interpretation of words. A person who knows the spelling can be considered as good at structural level. The person who can pronounce the correct pronunciation, that is known as a phonetical level, and a person who is familiar with the meaning is to be considered satisfied at semantical or meaning level. Now we will come to the central point, the main point of our discussion, that is what is phonetics. Let's see what is phonetics. Actually, phonetics is a combination of two different words, that is phone and tics. What do you mean by phone? Let's see. Phone is a speech sound created or produced by the human beings. Phone is a common word nowadays we generally use, but phone means sound, and particularly the sound which is produced by the human beings. It is followed by tics. Tics is a suffix which implies a scientific study or systematic study of a particular subject. So phonetics is nothing but a scientific or systematic study of speech sounds produced by the human beings. We can see the definition here. Phonetics is the branch of linguistics that deals with the sounds of speech, their production, combination, description and representation by written symbols. Okay. Now let's see. This is a very interesting slide which gives all the information about organs of speech, how the sound is produced by the human beings with the help of different organs of speech. Though it seems to be very complicated, just pay careful attention towards this figure. Actually, air is the prime requirement for the production of sound. Just take an example of a flute. If you find a flute whose all holes are totally choked or closed, then you cannot produce the beautiful notes. The notes produced by the flute is the result of air passes through the mouth of the player through the different holes, and it will be resulted into a melody. In the same way, our body comprises of air, lot of air, which is required for the production of sounds. The air which is stored in the lungs, it will be puffed out through the windpipe, and it travels through the windpipe, and it travels through this what you call as a larynx. Please pay attention to this larynx. Larynx is also known as an Adam's apple. This is an external part which is swollen-like structure is there. It contains two walls which are known as vocal cords. These vocal cords are very important in production of sound. Actually, the air passes through the windpipe and it enters into the oral cavity, and this oral cavity, this is a very important one. Now this yellow part is indicating the oral cavity, whereas this pink part is indicating the nasal cavity. Actually, the organs of speech or this jaw structure is broadly divided into two parts. One is the upper jaw, or which is also known as a passive articulator, and the lower part is known as an active articulator. The lower jaw is active because it moves it moves in the production of sound, whereas the upper jaw or the part of passive articulators, they remain static or stable. Now we will see one by one. Here we will start with this lower lip. It is followed by lower teeth. Then this curl-like structure is shown here. It is the most important organ of speech known as tongue. The tongue is broadly divided into 4 parts, that is tip, then it is followed by blade, blade is followed by then the front, and then it is deeply rooted here, that is known as the back of the tongue. Against the tongue, in the passive articulators, we can find out there is a word used here, palate. Actually the word palate means roof. Okay. So this is the roof of the mouth or oral cavity, and it is divided into alveolar ridge. Then it is followed by hard palate, as it sounds, hard palate, and then it is followed by soft palate, and the soft palate is ended with a fleshy hanging part that is known as a uvula. This uvula is a very important organ of speech because it acts like a doorkeeper. It allows the air to passes either through this oral cavity or through the nasal cavity. Oral cavity is used by 21 oral sounds in the production of 21 oral sounds, whereas nasal cavity is utilized in case of the 3 nasal sounds, that is m, n and g. So this is all about the organs of speech. Now we will see what are the terms which are frequently used in case of the study of phonetics. Let's get familiar with these terms. This is a chart of consonants. Actually there is no one-to-one relation or there is no one-to-one ratio in case of alphabets or alphabets and the sounds of English language. As you know that 26 alphabets are there, including 5 vowels, but in case of the sound or in case of the phonetics, you will find out that there are 24 consonants. Now we will see them in this chart. If you carefully pay attention towards the symbols, then you will find out that these are the symbols which are nominated or which are already certified by IPA, that is International Phonetics Association. And then it will be followed by 3-term label. The first term indicates the position of the vocal cords. The second is place of articulation, which describes the organs of speech which are included in the production of that particular sound. And the third term is indicating manner of articulation, that is how the air is released in the production of that particular sound. So these are all 24 consonants. I specifically insist on this particular series because this series will definitely helpful for the students to memorize these 3-term labels, which are very important in case of examination point of view or in order to understand the different descriptions related with phonetics. If you carefully observe, then you will find out that the plosives are in a sequence, then it is followed by fricatives, then it is followed by affricate, and it is followed by then semi-vowels, and then the last 3 ones are nasals. So if you carefully follow this sequence, this will helpful for the students to get memorize all these 3 term labels. Now let's move towards vowels. As you know that A, E, I, O, U, these are the 5 vowels we are well familiar. But in case of phonetics, there are 20 vowels, out of which there are 12 pure vowels. And all these pure vowels are placed on the different parts of the tongue, and these vowels are described on the basis of the part of the tongue which is used in the production and the tongue raised against the palate level. And the last, that is the position of the lips. There are 4 rounded vowels. There are 4 rounded vowels. For example, oo, oo, then o and o. Look at the position of the lips. The lips are rounded in the production of these 4 vowels only. So these vowels are known as rounded vowels, but the remaining 8 vowels are known as unrounded vowels. We will see all these vowels in details in later. Now this is the term diphthongs. Actually diphthongs means a combination of 2 vowels. When 2 pure vowels are joined together, it creates diphthongs. Okay. I would like to quote a very important and very useful information here regarding these common mistakes which are done by the Indian speakers of English language. There is no sound like O in British RP or in standard English. But we generally say GO as a go. We generally say show. SHOW is pronounced as show, but it should be show. AU diphthong is there, and this AU diphthong is very important. Look at the word home. Home, generally Indian speakers of English pronounce it as home, but the real pronunciation is home. So this is all about the diphthongs. The diphthong can be classified into 3 groups, ending with short E, ending with short O, and then ending with short U. So these are all a basic information about phonetics. Why phonetics is so important? Because it is commonly alleged that most of the time Indian speakers of English language are unable to understand or get acquainted with the speed and the intonation pattern of the foreign tourists or foreign speakers, because there is a lot of difference between the pronunciation style and especially this accent or intonations. What is accent? Words are stressed on the basis of syllables and their parts of speech. Actually, syllable is nothing but the minimal distinctive part of the pronunciation of a word. That is known as a syllable. So syllable will determine where to give the stress on that particular word. Most of the time it is depend upon the number of vowels or diphthongs used as well as their parts of speech. A common understanding is there. Nouns and adjectives are stressed on the first syllable, whereas verbs are stressed on the second syllable. Now intonation. Intonation is totally a different unit in case of the study of phonetics. Words are stressed whereas sentences are intoned. Tone groups are there. Tone groups functions like syllable. Intonation is nothing but stressing in the context of a sentence and meaning it conveys. Means it depends upon the meaning of the sentence and in which context it has been used by the speaker. Let's get some glimpses of this. There are 4 intonation styles: falling tone, rising tone, falling rising tone, and rising falling tone. But out of which falling tone and rising tone are the basic and most important tone intonation pattern in English. Falling tone is used in definite and complete sentences. It is also used in matter-of-fact WH questions. A very strange thing you should keep into mind that in Marathi we use rising tone in case of our WH question. The Indian speaker will say, "Where are you going?" but a British person will always use a falling tone. Where are you going? So that makes a lot of difference between our mother tongue and the impact of mother tongue. Definitely a great obstacle in order to use the British RP properly and effectively. It is also used, falling tone is also used in commands, then invitation, come over a cup of tea, like invitations are there, then exclamation, wonderful. So these are the different ones. Tag questions are also included in the falling tone. So the falling tone is generally used in all these such type of sentences. Then let's see about rising tone. Rising tone, where the speaker will rise his tone and it will imply the meanings. For example, yes no type questions are there, which are also publicly and popularly known as verbal questions. It is also used in statements intended to be a question. You are going. It is also a kind of a statement actually, but intended to be a question. WH question showing politeness or personal interest is there. A question which is asked in the warmth inquiry, as a warmth inquiry, in the same way WH questions are there. In request also rising tone is used. This is very wonderful and very strange from the Indian mentality, that request is made in a rising tone. Then in repetitive questions also you will find out that rising tone is used. The two other intonations are there. The two other intonations are nothing but a combination of falling and rising tone. Let's see. Falling rising tone. It is used in incomplete statements. Incomplete sentences like if and conditional clauses are there, then incomplete statements are there, and statements intended to be a correction. For example, he has 3 sons and someone wants to correct it. No, he has 4 sons. So the word 4 will be used in a falling rising tone. Actually, the falling rising tone will be indicated by this type of sign. It is falling and then it is followed by the rising tone. Statements intended to be warning. Now we will see the last concluding tone, that is rising and falling tone. Although these are used very rarely, but you should be familiar with the pattern of intonation and where it is to be used. It is exactly the symbol or the sign of rising falling tone is exactly opposite to falling rising tone. Statements showing enthusiastic and exclamation expressing sarcasm, irony. Okay, this is a different kind of a, you can say, intonation pattern one has to be familiar with in order to study the phonetics. So this was all about phonetics, and it is of immense importance to follow the British RP or to have familiarity with phonetics. If you have any doubt, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.